I'm going to do what my colleagues have been doing to all your cabinet colleagues, asking the very first question. State of national disaster for electricity crisis. Is it one of the best solutions you could come up with? What's your reaction to it?
It is definitely one of the best among the many that the president have announced. I've been in government for quite some time. There are quite a number of things which you have been asking that they be changed, because you see, we're a developmental state. Take, for instance, I'm just giving an example, the PFMA. Yeah. And I can give you living examples, because when you mention it, people get angry. They believe you want to steal. The PFMA is very compliant-based. It's not development-based. It wants you to comply. And in instances, it can stop development. If you are interested, I'll give you one example. If you go to Silverton, you'll find there's a facility there started by the Department of Labor. Disabled people used to work there to do, pajamas, uniforms of nurses, theater and all that. Another group is doing desks and furniture. And they used to make 120 million. And after paying expenses, sent 80 million to Treasury. Then PFMA comes and said, no, but you are not complying. You must go into the market and compete with anybody else in the market. That's the law. You have got to comply. And the Auditor General will also say, yes, this is the law, please comply. And then they comply, go into the market, they are disabled. They lose the tender to institute business people. And guess what happened? The same business people, once they win the tender, they go back to them to produce the goods, and they add a markup of 10 to 48%. And guess what? There were 3,000. They decreased in number because they are not getting support from the state. When I visited them there, we're now having 900. All the books will balance, there's been compliance, but that is not development. And there are many rules like that which have to be followed. And so when you say state of disaster, it's not because you want to steal, it's because you want to sidestep certain things, because this is a crisis.
So are you saying that the people, some critics of the state of disaster are saying, look what happened with PPEs under COVID-19. Is this another opportunity for looting?
We can't stop governing simply because some people loot. If you look at this whole issue which happened in health, I was there for 10 years. I don't remember you or any one of you reporting anything about corruption in that area. It has never happened, or none of you can ever point and say this is what happened. Now, when it happens once because some people are prone to stealing, then you think we must stop governing, we must stop running the country. We can't. We just have to deal with those who are corrupt.
But Minister, if I may intervene there, just give us practical examples in as far as solving the electricity crisis that is really characterized by poor maintenance at ESCOM, terrible policy, inconsistency between your ministers who are squabbling like cat and dog in public. 3, just sabotage and crime. So what is the state of disaster going to solve in those things? Because that's really what the country is wondering. I mean, I understand what you are saying, that it doesn't automatically mean people are going to steal. Remember, the president said the same thing ahead of COVID. It's not a new pronouncement that, oh, this is a disaster, but we won't steal. So let's set that aside, because people are going to steal. We know that. But the issue is, we obviously must be prepared, right? That's why he said the Auditor General must come in and make sure that things are proper. So that's fine. We can run you that. But give me 1 or 2 examples of what you need to solve the energy crisis that is stopped by current laws, that would be eased by the state of disaster.
JJ, I think your problem is that I've got a big suspicion that you did not read the Act and the definition of disaster. It does not only solve the primary act, the state of disaster. It also solves the consequences of that primary act, like a farmer losing the whole livestock, chicken dying and all that. And there are no mechanism to cover and help that person, like the communities which lacked water because of lack of electricity, or people who have lost their jobs, small businesses who have lost their job. And you find that within the present act, there is none that can help you to help them. So when you deal with state of disaster, you don't only deal with the primary act, you also deal with what has been the consequences. And that's why you need the state of disaster.
So, Minister, you're saying it's actually the consequences are so extreme and so widespread that this state of disaster will it, for example, release more funds? Does it mean, let's take an example. Now that we're in a state of disaster, could it mean that there's flexibility in budgets? For example, the nearly 1 billion rand that's been set aside for the Tottenham Hotspur deal for Tourism SA. Does it mean, for example, that that money can now be recalled under a state of disaster and used to support chicken farmers who need to install solar panels? Is that the kind of flexibility that the state of disaster could create?
Exactly, exactly. And you gave a very extreme, painful example of the issue of Tottenham Hotspurs, because apart from the people who are involved in it, I've never had anybody understanding or even supporting it. And one of the first things they said this money is budgeted for.
Yeah.
And all monies that are budgeted are passed by Parliament.
Yeah.
And when you do transfer money from one area to the other, it has got a term. I just forgot it. Oh my God. There is a term when you do that. It has got restrictions.
Yes.
But once you do a state of disaster and you say so many farmers have lost their chicken upcoming and all that,
Because
they
of
need to
load
be
shedding,
supported.
for example.
Yes, then you are able to do that.
I have to ask you a quick question that is directly in your portfolio, and you've handled these salvos that are not directly in your portfolio very well. But the President's saying, and we knew that this was happening, that the Department of Home Affairs appointed the first group of 10,000 unemployed people, young people, to digitize 340 million paper-based civic records. Now, I'm asking this question on behalf of anyone who stood in a long queue waiting to get documentation from Home Affairs. How is that project going?
Look, this is a specific project to digitize paper records.
Yeah.
Home Affairs have got more files and more records than any department I know of. These are records of birth. Whoever was.
I mean, how far back does this go, and how long do you think before it's all completed?
No, let me explain to you. These are records of birth, marriage, death, IDs, and passports, stretching from 1895.
1895?
Yes.
Wow.
Our ancestors.
Yes, they are all paper.
Yeah.
They are all paper, and some are going to fade away just for age.
Yeah.
Others may, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Every day when I go to department, I get scared of fire. That will be devastating.
Yeah.
And I'm going
And
to.
there have been incidents in different departments.
They will be devastating. It has not yet visited us. I'm even afraid to mention in public where the archives are, because somebody might just get ideas.
Don't tell us.
Yes, I don't tell anybody. Now, how does it affect, as you say, long queues? Time and again, people come and change something on their IDs. Either the way their name is spelled.
No, look, I think sorry to interrupt, because we are being pressed for time. We've got Herman Mashaba who wants to join the conversation in a moment. Everyone is delighted that this is going to be digitized. Let me put it this way. How long do you think it's going to take to get those, 340 million pieces of paper into a computer?
The plan we give to Treasury, for them to give us 2.4 billion, is over a period of 3 years.
3 years, done and dusted. Fantastic. And
it can't be done and dusted because the records increase at the rate of 1.2 billion.
So you've got to be even
when
quicker.
Kids are born. And then when youngsters turn 16 and take IDs, it's about 1 million every year. So it's just to reduce the bulk. Then from there you can do it normally.
I have to ask you one quick question. For every tourist who's visiting Cape Town thinking, I love Cape Town, I want to work here, those remote working visas mentioned in the last SONA, mentioned again tonight, are those a thing? Can you apply for a remote working visa to come from Germany, live in South Africa, but work remotely?
Well, in the last State of the Nation address, the President announced that he's going to hire the veteran, former DG of Home Affairs, Mavuso Msimang, to do this work. He has done it under Operation Vulindlela and reported to the President. I still have to see the report. Okay. That's a presidency work, and he said he will make recommendations. Once the recommendations are made and the President accepts them, mine is just to implement. So at the moment, I think they were waiting for him to announce it at SONA.
So it's very close. It's very close.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Minister, you can stay with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate your time this evening.